Hello, dear folk. Well, every story needs a narrator, every Greek play. And I guess ORT was our narrator and our historian. When somebody that you've known a long time passes away, part of your story goes too with them, but as long as you remember them, it's still there. So anyway, I first met William Orton Carleton, better known as ORT, around 1976. Athens was a much different, much slower paced town back then. The population has since tripled, and the UGA population has since doubled. He couldn't have survived, much less thrived, except in a college town like ours, where it was possible for a gentle, eccentric, kind soul like him to be not only accepted by a decent percentage of the local population, but also become so beloved. ORT definitely never met a stranger. My first husband, Jimmy Ellis, and I initially met him at his record shop, ORT's Oldies, on Jackson Street, where Fred Schneider worked for him. Jimmy and he had a running joke where they would yell at each other and random strangers, "Get a haircut, hippie!" As we became friends, we even met his mom, Betty, and his stepdad, Buddy. ORT had a large storage shed behind their house and 5 Points at the time, filled with meticulously filed boxes of singles. His car at the time had a name, which I've unfortunately forgotten, but ORT was always ready for an adventure in her. Once we drove out on Highway 78 into Oglethorpe County following a bunch of sirens, to where a band tour bus had gone off the road on a curve right across from that church. And I can't remember what the band is. I want to say it was the Platters, but maybe it was the Tams. But now I can't ask him, you know. He was an early supporter of Athens music and always made a point of telling me how much he loved my band, Pylon. He claimed that we were his favorite Athens band, but I know how much he loved us all. And his favorite band actually in the world was Government Cheese. I've made a list of a few things and places that I associate with ORT's memory in no particular order. Does anybody remember Alice's Restaurant? Complete with an upside-down table and chairs on the ceiling, with footprints that led to an upside-down men and ladies room. They had a 35-cent veggie plate after 2 p.m. I think it was a way to get rid of all of their leftover vegetables. It was located on a block of small businesses now occupied by a bank at the intersection of Broad and Thomas Streets. Barnett's Newsstand, who remembers that? One of my friends recently said she thought he worked there. Well, he didn't. He hung out there for hours. I mean, he loved to read, and it was air conditioned in the summer. Not too many places like that. Allen's, who remembers Allen's? 25-cent beer, 96 tears on the jukebox, a peeling Las Vegas poster on the wall, German potato salad and hamburgers. WOG, how many of y'all either worked there or listened? I climbed that staircase several times with him and Jimmy to watch him do ORT's Oldies, and he also called it ORT's Radio Problem, and sometimes he would add, and Home for Wayward Plants. Maniacal laughter. shouting into the mic, and he would play some of the rarest and most scratched up records ever played on radio. His friend Coach, who remembers Coach? Coach could usually be found up there laying on the couch with his dark sunglasses on, sleeping. And they were quite a pair. He remembers him saying phrases like, "Oh, you elbow macaroni knee breath," or calling him doorknob or other forms of endearment. He remembers the Athens Observer. He sometimes wrote articles for them, and I have to note that his friend there, Phil Sanderlin, whom he called Phil Sanderfat to his face, was one of the most gifted writers this town has ever produced. Both of these guys were so funny. I mean, I wish somebody would put out a compilation of some of Phil's columns. He read his flagpole articles about the Atlanta hotel fire, barbecue, beer, obscure records, and small post office. And he always signed it with 30. Whoever heard him talk about the Goshen Phone Company? Goshen Telephone Company. Or heard him discuss Wauchula, Florida, the origin of the Carlton family. How many heard him talk about craft beer before craft beer was cool? I give as an example Frankenmuth beer from Frankenmuth, Michigan. He asked Bob, my current husband, and I to search for some on one of our trips to Bob's hometown of Grand Rapids around 1983. We went to several package stores, nobody had heard of it, and we finally ended up at a bar downtown, and we talked him into selling us some in a brown paper bag to go, and brought it back to him. As many of you know, he was obsessed with radio directional patterns. He filled a box of EKG strips with drawings of them for me. Anybody look at any of his yellow legal pads? I mean, I've been meaning to ask her how many hundreds he must have in his house. Maybe he'll tell us. But they were full of things like absurd and hilarious band names, and I remember some. Mustache Overlord, Juice Hygiene, Motorcycle Grapefruit Patrol, Well-Tossed Salad, Temporary Jailbird, Unspared Ribs, and many more. ORT's gone, but he's not going to be soon forgotten. I told him the last time that I saw him that thousands of people love him, including me. It made him so happy, he kissed my hand.